And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate. It's all about helping you understand your buying decisions and making you just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region's #1 consumer advocate program. And we want to be your resource. We want to be that super connector to connect you to all different types of resources here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We appreciate you hanging out with us here. Let's jump right into it. Let's make our introductions. We got Diane Vance back on the show, expert contributor, mortgage expert contributor here on the show. Welcome back, Diane.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And yourself?
Good. I'm happy to be back and update some of your buyers of what's going on.
Yeah, what's going on in the market? How's COVID affecting? Yes, I heard a report. It's down roughly 15% nationwide, and we'll dive deeper on things happening here locally as well.
Correct. Yep.
Awesome.
It is, but it will come back.
It will, absolutely. It will come back. Attorney Richard Alexander, welcome back to the show, sir.
Good afternoon, Brandon. Pleasure to be back, man. Been a while.
Absolutely. Yeah, good to have you back. And today you were going to talk a little bit about some of the things happening in the law profession.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I've reached out to a lot of colleagues to see if they're on the same plane as I am, and it seems to be happening all around, especially in litigation.
Wow. So litigation slowed down. We're going to talk about that, and also even how it's affecting some of your students. You're an educator as well. We'll have more from Richard Alexander here on the show as well. And attorney Frank Charles Miranda, welcome back to the show as well, sir.
Thank you, Brandon. Thanks for having me in.
Hey, my pleasure.
What I want to talk about today is the insurance policies and the claims for interrupted business and the exclusion of pandemic and or act of God.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of been talked. I was on a conference call the other day, and what is act of God? What does that entail? How does that affect real estate? How does that affect businesses being shut down? And potentially there may be a cause of action there. So good stuff. We'll talk more with Frank Charles Miranda here coming up soon. Let's go back to Diane Vance here. So Diane, let's jump right into it. We talk a lot about real estate. It's such a driver to the overall economy, and right now, we are deemed essential with the other, handful of businesses that are deemed essential. But what are you seeing on your end?
Well, we're actually still very active. I've had a lot of purchase contracts come through. They're not as much as normal, but they are happening. The federal housing released some house price index yesterday, or I guess it was the 22nd, whatever day that was. I kind of lose track right now. Which measures the home appreciation on single-family homes. And the home prices rose 7% in February, 5.7% year over year. That was old data before COVID-19. However, what that shows is that we have a very strong real estate market, and that it's going to provide some cushion, and it may prevent gains from going negative. So it's a good indicator that the housing market is very strong. The other thing that happened on the 22nd, as you know, some of the guidelines have changed within the mortgage world because of forbearance, and if you don't pay the servicing company that actually takes care of your loan where you make your payments, there was no help on that. So if you didn't make your payment, let's say, then they would still have to make the payment to the investor, who might be Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, or whoever it is, whoever the investor was. So there was a lot of changes in the market. But what happened on the 22nd is the feds have came in and they said they will actually help with the actual for 4 months of helping with the payments. However, the first payment default, if it defaults in the first month, an average, let's say a company may make like $1,500, but they came back and said, Fannie Mae came back and said, okay, if the first payment is in default when you close, meaning that you don't make your first payment and goes into forbearance, we're going to charge 700 basis points, which is on a $300,000 loan would be like $21,000.
Wow.
So they're still working on some things,
Right.
but they are going to go ahead and help servicers for the first 4 months. They're still trying to work out the details, but we are getting some help. So that should ease a little bit on the consumer, because all of this affects the consumer. Anything they do actually affects what the consumer ends up paying. So they are helping the servicers, so that should in turn make a lot of investors more comfortable, which means that lenders will be able to be a little more back to normal, maybe not as back to normal, but a little more than they went. So what happened, we saw things kind of change overnight, and then the rates went up, and then now the rates are coming back down. Rates are great, by the way. They're still very, very good, very strong. So I would suggest that if people are wanting to refinance or purchase, it's a great time to do that. They expect interest rates to stay very, very low for the next 18 months. So it just depends on what happens in the marketplace. As people are getting more comfortable with going and looking at homes. And Brandon, one of your agents, I told you I talked to a customer on Monday, and literally I think Monday or Tuesday, and she's already under contract. So people are buying homes. They are interested. I'm pre-qualifying. I'm getting a lot of people ready that maybe they were able to qualify prior, but maybe something like their credit score wasn't high enough at the time. So we're getting those folks ready so that when it does go back to normalcy, then they're going to be ready. So the story is people should plan, and let's, don't ignore whatever's going on. If you need to go forbearance, call your servicer. If you've lost your job, that's what they're there for. Now, if you're just calling because, hey, I think they're going to start to ask for proof, like that you were actually, furloughed or something like that, or one of your spouses or your significant other was actually furloughed. And they have not been doing that. I don't know if that is the case, but that's what there was talk of that. The big thing is that people just don't stop making their payments if they can actually make their payments. But this is not going to be like the 2008, 2009 recovery, because we have a lot of homes with a lot of equity in them, especially in Florida. So Florida has came back on their appreciation, and they continue to appreciate. We continue to have people from up north move down because of taxes. We have no income tax. A lot of people from up north are moving to the state because of that. So it's going to stay. I'm not seeing any drops in value. I know a lot of the people that are buying might think that, but when I see the negotiations, there is no drop in the value. They're still negotiating. They have more than one negotiation on the property, probably not 15, but they are having more than one typically. So there are people actively looking currently. So we're finding that people are getting more and more comfortable with going online, dealing with us online, dealing with the realtor online, doing the virtual tours. I had one customer that actually purchased a home online with a virtual tour, and she's going to, one of the stipulations is that when she comes down, she can walk through the house, and that's part of their condition. So people are working around ways to actually get the homes purchased.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're talking with Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and you hit the nail on the head with one of the comments you made about the housing and the way that the housing leads us out of this. Here's Ali Wolf. He's a chief economist with Myers Research. He says last time housing led the recession. Talking about the 2008 meltdown, housing led that recession. This time it's poised to bring us out. This is the Great Recession for leisure, hospitality, trade, and transportation, in that this recession will feel as bad as the Great Recession did to housing. So his point was that, before we had in '08, we've heard it so many times how there was, we were pushing values, there was so much inventory, and then it all kind of came crumbling down. But that's not the case. And it also goes on to say how historical analysis shows that pandemics are usually a V-shaped, meaning a sharp recession that recovers quickly enough to provide little damage to home prices.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've heard, and that's what I'm listening, the same thing, that it will be a V-shape. And I would expect that would happen, especially in Florida. I was on a call yesterday, and Dr. Rosen was on the call from the Cleveland Clinic, and he had said that they expect to have a treatment maybe by September. They have 3 companies that are actually doing a treatment, and there's some promising studies that are being done right now. A vaccine probably will not, or 70 companies, I'm sorry, I got it backwards. 70 companies are trying for treatments. 3 companies are testing a vaccine. They don't expect the vaccine to come until December, but they expect the treatment, at least one of those companies, to have a treatment by September. And he also said that they're finding, they don't know if it's UV rays that actually doesn't destroy it, but lessens the virus, or if it's the vitamin D from the sun, so that with the sun, it seems to affect the virus.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, I've heard that too. And the higher the temperatures and those types of things. So it's good stuff here. We got more from Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage coming up here, as well as attorney Richard Alexander and attorney Frank Charles Miranda here on the show. Our feel-good story of the day is a good one as well. Neighborhood throws parade for man who beat both coronavirus and cancer in 6 months. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Follow us online. We would love to connect with you at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter. The Consumer Quarterback Show page out there on Facebook and Instagram as well. And we'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Danzo Star.
62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week of 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore. Ask an attorney about
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and changed them.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
as your super connector. We want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to...
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back their rights. I've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know
And we're back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We appreciate you spending some time with us here. We want to serve as your consumer advocate. It's all about helping you understand your buying decisions, making you just a bit more street smart here every day on the Consumer Quarterback Show, 4 o'clock drive time, right here on AM 860 The Answer, FM translated on 93.7 FM. And we've got our weekend show on 102.5 The Bone. And you can find our TV show on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and 85 other outlets. And we want to help you win in your real estate deals, buying, selling, or investing. We would love to talk to you. And yes, we're still active out there. Real estate is deemed essential. And my wife and I are owners of the Platinum MVP team. We got a team of 15 agents and support staff. So we would love to help you buying, selling, or investing. Got a couple of hot property listings here in Tampa Bay. One right here on Lake Tarpon in Palm Harbor, Tarpon Springs area, 520 George Street South. It's right on the lake, waterfront, beautiful property, 520 George Street South, Tarpon Springs. Bring your boat, bring your jet skis, and enjoy the best of Florida living right on Lake Tarpon here. Just a 25-minute drive to Tampa and the Tampa International Airport as well. You got a separate mother-in-law suite, 520 George Street South, Tarpon Springs, hot real estate listing. Also, 422 Wildwood Way in BELLEAIR. This is a gorgeous home, and it's surrounded by excellent golfing, fine dining, and also the Gulf beaches are right around the corner. BELLEAIR is a nice town here in Tampa Bay. 422 Wildwood Way. Owner put over $130,000 in recent upgrades on this property for both internal and external landscaping. Beautiful property. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And giving a shout out to Golf Cart Depot, one of our sponsors for the show. We really want you supporting our sponsors. Golf Cart Depot. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you when you give them a call. Talk to Marty. He's the owner, and they will bring the golf cart to you right now. They're going to bring the golf cart to you, let you test drive Easy Go, Star EV, Cushman, pre-owned, pre-manufactured as well. Lando Lakes, they have an office in Lando Lakes, also Clearwater as well. Check out Golf Cart Depot as well. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. All right, let's jump back into it. We got a great lineup for you today. Diane, Vance, we heard from Diane in segment one. We've got Frank Charles Miranda coming up as well. And now we're going to speak with attorney Richard Alexander back on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and talking a lot about how it's affecting different industries, Richard. And you're saying that you've seen the law profession take a hit as well.
Yeah, and I've spoken to several colleagues. I know a couple of paralegals that have been laid off, and it's a problem, especially in the field of litigation, criminal defense, personal injury. The firms that are getting by on the personal injury cases, those are the firms that have had cases in the pipeline. But as you know, fewer and fewer people are driving. So obviously you have less motor vehicle accidents. You have less premise liabilities, slip and falls. People are just not out. So it's a problem. I've spoken to several colleagues about it, and hopefully something will change very soon.
Yeah, so the general pulse is, I think most Americans, especially small business owners, we're getting tired. We're getting tired of being kind of held back with these guidelines. You see that the governor of Georgia is kind of saying, hey, we're going to open up, and then Trump saying no, he strongly disagrees, but we're going to let the governors do what they want to do. So yeah, it is a challenging time for a lot of people, kind of balancing individual liberties with societal, what needs to happen in society for some people.
Yeah, the governors, they have a very difficult decision. They have, everybody's watching what they do.
Right.
And they're sort of in that, damned if you do, damned if you don't type of scenario, because, everybody's saying, listen, you have to open up this economy. I think people fail to realize that this is a $22 trillion economy. And we have been brought to our knees in a matter of weeks. And something has to happen. I mean, there are people really hurting out there. I know several of my friends are in that situation. And something has to happen. I think Governor Kemp from Georgia is trying to do the right thing by his people. He's going to open up. He's already made the edict that they're going to open up barbershops and nail salons and massage therapy. But they're going to do it with guidelines. In other words, it's not just a free-for-all, come out of your house and do whatever you want. He says, I like the idea when this whole thing first started, if you went to restaurants, they had every other table was available.
Yes.
Do you recall that, Brandon?
I did, yep. And one of the places I frequented was like that, and you were at least 6 to 8 feet away from people.
Correct. And you know, I don't know why you can't just start doing that again. If you need your customers to wear masks or gloves, then by all means, give the people an opportunity to make a decision. But you can get half the wait staff back to working, half the kitchen staff back to working, get some much needed money pumped into the economy. I just read today that Hillsborough County is going to be making a decision as to whether or not to open up the county under very strict guidelines. And I think just sitting on our hands at home waiting for something to change, I just don't see that as a viable option for a country with the greatest economy in the history of civilization.
I agree, and when we're running, Tom Brady out of a park in Tampa, he's trying to get a workout in, right? We're running him out of the park. You can't be here. Come on, what's he really hurting there, right? If he's within 8 feet of somebody else, I mean, outside of the 8 feet barrier.
Yeah, I think law enforcement, they have a very difficult job to do, and God bless them, because I know I couldn't do that job, but at the same time, you have to have some discretion. Law enforcement, has discretion in almost every possible situation.
Right.
They don't have to issue a citation. They don't have to make an arrest unless it's something incredibly serious, like a forcible felony or something. But I don't know if you read the letter from the Houston police chief, and he said, "Listen, judge who's issued an edict that everybody must be wearing masks when they're out in public." He pretty much said, "No offense, but I'm going to tell my law enforcement officers to use discretion, discretion, discretion." And this was in a letterhead to that particular judge. So, and that's all I'm talking about, basically.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And if you just joined us, we're talking with attorney Richard Alexander here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Alexander Law, trustalexanderlaw.com. And when you look at the challenges that we've had, and then some of the states, you see the number of deaths and the number of cases, they're pretty low when you look at how many people would have normally died from the regular flu.
Right. It's funny. I'm very active on social media, and some of my favorite posts are things like, "Gee, isn't it funny how we cured heart disease, car accidents, the flu, the common cold? We've cured all of those since the coronavirus has been in our lives." I think, what happened to everything else?
Yeah, there's so much.
Everybody has to be careful. I mean, there's no question about that, but at the same time, we just can't continue to shut down this economy. I don't know what the solution is, but I'd like to see just a gradual implementation of slowly opening up our economy. I'm not talking about opening up Disney World tomorrow, but something has to be done, and it has to be done soon.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly there. The small businesses, it seems like the middle income, you don't make enough, you don't get the $1,200, but because you make over this amount. But, then you've got, when the money was released, to help the small businesses, you had a lot of big businesses jumping in there and pulling a lot of the money out. And, you got misappropriation of funds, it seems. And then also think about the amounts that we're talking about here. When we're talking about billions of dollars, we're watering down our American dollar even more than it was already watered down since we came off of the gold standard back in the 70s.
Well, I'm a history teacher, and one of the most famous photographs ever was during the Weimar Republic. This is before Hitler came into power in Germany. And, the Kaiser had a great idea. Hey, I know how to get us out of this, inflation. We'll just print more money. And one of the most famous pictures is a woman literally dumping, German money into an oven, to keep the house warm, because that was the only purpose that the Weimar could, with the Deutschmarks, that was the only possible use of this, inflated money that was literally worthless.
Wow. Yeah, so it's challenging when you look at where we're at now and how much more money we're going to have to spend to come out of this over coronavirus. We're talking with attorney Richard Alexander here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Now, talk a little bit about some of the law students and what you're seeing there as well, because you mentioned you're an educator. What are you seeing on that side of things?
Well, as far as law school graduates, the July bar has been canceled. They're just not confident that there's going to be a system in place that everybody can take the bar exam under ideal conditions, because you do have to take the bar under ideal conditions to have any hope of passing it. I think California just stated that they're going to, on a provisional basis, either that or permanent, that recent law school graduates are going to be allowed to practice law. So obviously, nothing can go wrong with that. But my courses have been canceled. It's just because I was an on-ground educator and I don't do the virtual, teaching. I'm not a big proponent of it. I didn't learn that way through college and law school.
Yeah.
But I hope. Listen, I hope this is temporary. It has to be temporary, and I hope to get back into court, get back to serving my clients' best interests, and get back to teaching.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all do. We want to get back to that point, and the longer this drags out, the more that it's going to hurt small business more than large business, and it's a challenge with what we're seeing right now. So we're going to pull through this. We're going to come together. The American people always have, and we will do that as well. So stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got more from our expert panel today: Diane, Vance, Richard Alexander, and coming up next, attorney Frank Charles Miranda here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to dive deeper into maybe some of the stuff happening in insurance side, the real estate side here as well as our feel-good story of the day. Find out about this man who beat both the coronavirus and cancer in the past 6 months, and his neighborhood threw a party for him. Find out. We'll be right back.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
This is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with D'Angelo Star.
62 who knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 who knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore. Ask about
to be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50+ show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We want to help you buying, selling, or investing. Of course, we would love to talk to you. We are making cash offers right now as well. Keller offers. We have instant cash offers available for those that are in a position where they want to sell quickly, they want to close quickly within a matter of days. Reach out to our hotline, 813-670-7372. Call or text our hotline at 813-670-7372. And, of course, our website is consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available on our website at consumerqb.com. I want to give a shout-out to our friends over at Replenish IV Solutions. A great time right now to get a vitamin infusion drip. It's going to be vitamins, minerals, all types of good stuff going directly into your bloodstream and much more efficient and absorbable than your typical vitamins that you would take orally. Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. Say hello to Stephen and Lisa Gunnan at Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. Make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you, and they do make house calls. They will send a qualified nurse directly to your home, and they will make house calls and hook you up with a vitamin infusion drip. So great time to boost your immune system right now. Great time to do that. And I was just listening to a podcast the other day, Howard Stern interviewing Tom Brady, and I thought the way he ended the actual interview was pretty cool because it was somewhat inspiring. He asked him to leave us on a note. He said, "I look at my body every day as how can I get better? People call him the GOAT, the greatest of all times in terms of quarterback, but it really comes through in the way that he prepares and the way that he takes care of his body. So I think that's a message for everyone right now is to take care of your body like you're a professional athlete. Cut out some of the stuff that you normally, we all know what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat and what we should supplement and not. So take a page out of Tom Brady's book there, and he just really left it on a note of, every day to him is a way that he can get better and eat cleaner and take care of his body. So it's a great time to do that. Replenish IV Solutions can definitely help you as well. A couple of hot listings here I want to talk about here in Tampa Bay. We've got some properties that are vacant land available, Harbor Drive and Clearwater, 2 lots that are ready to be developed. You can put 9 units on these 2 lots, and it's bay access. So, where else can you find for $150,000 a lot to build on with bay access right to the Clearwater Beach there, the Intercoastal Waterway, Harbor Drive, Clearwater, beautiful lots available right there in Clearwater. Great opportunity to purchase real estate here in Tampa Bay. I got a motivated seller as well at 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa. This is a commercial office building, freestanding office building with signage on Hillsborough Avenue. In a typical economy, you'd have 40 to 50,000 cars going by daily over at Town and Country there at 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue. We've got a large conference room. It's got a small kitchen and several offices and lots of great space to call your own, your business your own and have your own business instead of leasing or renting space. 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we got attorney Frank Miranda here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And Frank, we appreciate you joining us and wealth of information, of course, in the title business, the real estate closings, real estate law as well. But you're saying there might be some stuff happening in the insurance world now coming up as a result of COVID?
Yeah, absolutely. So what's going on is on people's policies regarding business interruption, the insurance companies are putting out there that if there's an exclusion or if they say it's due to a pandemic or an act of God, we're not going to pay on a business interruption claim. We have put together a national team. We're reviewing those policies. We think we're going to be successful in beating those exclusions based on some prior case law in the federal courts. And we're not doing this as a mass tort. We're not doing this as a class action. We're going to do this on an individual basis, typically for larger entities and companies, probably with incomes of $1 million to $5 million, in excess of those. So if you have a company like that, if you likely called your insurance agent that sold you the policy and asked those questions, typically what they're going to do is simply read the language and say there's no way around it. I'm telling you there is. So what we like to do is if you have one of those policies and would like us to review it, we're taking those cases on a contingency basis, which means we're not going to charge anything unless we recover from the insurance company. We'll bear all the cost up front. So you have nothing to lose. So if you have those and want us to review it, you can email those to me at frank@fcmlaw.com. We're going to have a team review them. And again, we're going to have some of the best national attorneys related to this issue who worked on 9/11 cases during the awful destruction in New York City, take over these cases and in a joint effort with about 5 to 6 different law firms.
Wow, that's interesting, Frank. What would be, if I'm a small business owner and I'm saying, wow, that sounds interesting to me. It sounds like my business was interrupted. What are kind of the prerequisites that I might want to look at prior to, digging too deep into this?
I really think you have to do anything. And what you really have to do is just scan me the policy. We'll have our team look at it. We'll give you an evaluation up front. If we think we can do it, I don't think you have anything to lose. You might as well go ahead and sign up and let us have a shot at it. If we're correct, you're going to get paid and you're going to be compensated for your losses. What you paid for in your insurance policy. So at this point in time, if you have insurance and you think you purchased business interruption insurance and that's included, don't worry about the exclusion language. We'll worry about that. We'll tell you if we think we can beat it. Some languages and policies are better written than others. And so we will look at it all. If we don't think we have a case, we'll let you know. And you've lost nothing but the time it is to scan the policy and let me review it.
Wow, yeah, that sounds very interesting because I think a lot of people do, have this, but then they're being told one thing from the insurance companies, and isn't that how it seems the insurance companies are? They love to collect premiums, and then when it comes time to pay out, it's definitely not a speedy payout most of the time, and they drag it out in court sometimes fighting. I'm going through a lawsuit with a car accident, simple car accident. The person pulled out in front of me, or there was no, in my opinion, obviously there's no area for any kind of argument. It was their fault. But insurance companies, you got to love them, Frank.
Well, I can tell you, and based upon all the other attorneys you have on this case or on the show, most of our files, most of our litigation is due to insurance, if not all our litigation is due to insurance policies and insurance carriers not paying when they should. I can tell you, just recently I had a case where a gentleman lost his leg. And instead of writing checks and doing the right thing, we fought for 3 years. So they often, if not always, close to always, I can't say always, they very often do not agree with anything we present to them. And oftentimes we present the entire case to them before we file a lawsuit. We show them the damages. We show them the medical bills. We show them how we're going to beat them, and they'll come back and they'll make an offer that is offensive. We have no other choice at that point but to file a lawsuit. So if people want to talk about lawsuits and attorneys and we just drag things through the system, I can trust you that all the lawyers I know don't want to waste their time on a lawsuit when it could have been settled. And so I think the influx of litigation is based upon the bad faith and of insurance companies failing to recognize a good cause of action, failing to recognize that they're liable for it. And they have figured out that it's better for them to drag out a case. And eventually, the stats show that a lot of lawyers aren't willing to go and fight the fight. And so they'll settle that case down the road for less than it's worth because they know that lawyer's not going to try the case. And so, the people we're going to put in front of you for reviewing these insurance claims, we're federal attorneys that go to court all the time and they go to trial.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it. A lot of the at least what I've learned over the years is that a lot of the attorneys, they claim to be trial attorneys and that they actually go to court, but then actually, what I hear from some of their peers is that they actually don't go to court. They don't appear. They're known to be the type that will just settle. So it sounds like it's a strong or it's a weak negotiation point if you don't have anything to back the talk, right?
Well, of course, it's anything you do. It's about leverage. And so if the other person that you're having a problem with, a confrontation, knows you're going to back down, they're going to bully you. And at some point in time, you're going to have to cave in because there's going to be a trial date set and that person doesn't want to actually drop the gloves and fight. So if the insurance company knows that, they're going to get the better end of the litigation and of the negotiation. But if, on the side note, if they know that you have the financial ability to fight them, that you can hire the proper experts, and that you can put on a case better than they can or just as good as they can, and that you're willing to go all the way, then you're at an even footing. And then hopefully they respect you enough that they will give you an offer that is reasonable and acceptable. And only then you get what's truly worth the case. And if they dig in for whatever reason, then what you have to do then is try the case and let the citizens decide.
Right. Now, is that a situation, by the way, if you just joined us, we're talking with attorney Frank Miranda. He's the owner of Frank Charles Miranda Law, and you can email him directly with any questions at frank@fcmlaw.com, frank@fcmlaw.com. Frank, now, is this one of those scenarios where the prevailing party would win attorney's fees as well?
You know, if we're talking about the claims, we're going to review the insurance policies for loss of business interruption, then yes, there's attorney's fees provisions in those policies. And so it's based on contract. So if you're looking at a simple contract action, our allegation would be that we made a claim, you denied the claim wrongly. Their defense is going to be, there's language in there that says an act of God or pandemic. The pandemic wasn't shown to affect your building specifically or your office or your business specifically, and therefore we're denying it. We think there's a legitimate way around it. We think it's beatable. Maybe not in every case, but in a lot of those cases it's beatable.
Yeah.
And we want to review that. And, you know, the only person around here, think about it. What is going on now that's going to make an insurance company pay any funds? Nothing. There's no car accidents going on.
Right.
There's very little fires. I mean, there's very little action going on. So their risk on a day-to-day basis is minimalized. So they're making more money now than ever.
Right.
And so when you need them the most, they're going to try, like they always do, to find a reason why not to pay. Yep. And we think they should.
All right, that's good stuff. Frank Charles Miranda. More from our expert contributors coming up in our lightning round. Stick around. We're going to have top tips from all of our expert contributors right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back after this short break. And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife, Lindsay, and I own and operate a top real estate team here in the area. And we've got a lot of hot listings we'd love to talk to you about. Working with buyers, sellers, and investors. Buying properties cash as well. We do have instant offers that we have cash offers available on some of our properties. So I've got a property in Palm Harbor. Here's 0 alternate 19. It's AKA 516 Alt 19 in Palm Harbor. This is a buildable lot that comes with $40,000 worth of plans, and it's a property right in Palm Harbor, right on alternate 19. You've got the walkability to all the great restaurants there. And in a normal economy, you've got about 40,000 cars a day coming by. So 0 alternate 19, Palm Harbor, a great opportunity to purchase real estate and build your dream office here in Tampa Bay. How about 19206 US 19 in Clearwater? This is a corner lot currently operated by a regional car dealership, auto dealership, that is a regional from the United States, the Southeast United States. 19206 US 19 North in Clearwater. It's a corner lot, freestanding building, and there's also another separate building lot that you could rent as well. Great opportunities to purchase real estate here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, every day we're going to tell you something positive in our feel-good story of the day. So today we got a good one here. This neighborhood throws a parade for a man who beat coronavirus and cancer in 6 months. So pretty cool story coming out of Indianapolis. They threw a homecoming parade for a man who beat both coronavirus and cancer. And Paul Lee, 48, was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2019 and finished radiation in November. Just a few months later, he was suddenly struggling with an unknown illness that would later be identified as COVID-19. Paul spent 3 weeks in the hospital fighting the disease. Paul's wife, Julie, and their blended family of 8 children couldn't see him. In fact, they had to stay home and quarantine. While neighbors and friends pitched in to make dinner or pay for food deliveries, the Lee family said they tried to cope by putting pictures of Paul up, throughout the property. And Paul's FaceTime a few weeks ago and several close calls. Paul did go home. On Thursday, April 16th, neighbors were ready, including Karen Cummings, who helped organize a parade. She said, quote, I said, we've got to do something for Paul. We need to give him a ticker tape parade or something. We're going to have to make him feel better than when to welcome him back, and he deserves it after struggling with cancer originally and now beating the coronavirus. All right, I love our feel-good stories of the day. Those are pretty cool, inspiring stories, communities coming together, people coming together, lots of good stuff happening, throughout the United States in light of the negativity that we do see as well. And all right, let's jump into our lightning round. We've got Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, looking for some top tips, parting words of wisdom. Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage.
Well, I want to remind your listeners that if you have been furloughed and you want to have your house payment just in forbearance, please call your servicer, explain your situation, and you'll be able to have that done. And the federal government is now going to help with those payments that are missed with the servicer. So please give them a call. It may be a little easier, or you may still have a long wait time, but I think the actual requests have slowed down somewhat. So please give them a call and talk to whoever you're paying your payments to let them know.
Excellent. Good stuff. Attorney Richard Alexander.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. So one thing I always preach, I have it on my website. I believe in it because I am an educator, but knowledge is power. I will never tell anybody how to think, or I will never tell anybody how to vote. But, do your homework, do your due diligence, and look at several sources, several articles, and then make an informed decision, especially given the climate.
Yeah, and that's a great point as well when you think about statistics. A lot of educational classes and degree plans. You got to look at statistics as well when you're making a decision, because sometimes those statistics can be skewed, and you got to always think of who paid for the study, right?
Correct. I think there's an old saying, and I may be paraphrasing it. There are lies, and then there are statistics.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. All right, Frank Miranda. Top tip, sir.
If you have a business and generate over $1 million to $5 million, pull out your insurance policy and see if you have business interruption coverage. If you do, send me that. We'll look at it for free. Even though there may be a claim of an exemption due to an act of God, we think there's a way around it. My email address is frank@fcmlaw.com. You can give me a call at 813-254-2637 to discuss further. But do yourself a favor. There may be an opportunity for you to recover funds from your insurance policy. Take a look at it right now.
Great idea. Especially a lot of small business owners got hit pretty hard. Diane, want to talk to you as well about what you're seeing. I know you've been helping some people kind of navigate the government programs. The first batch of money ran out. The second batch of money's out there now. Any advice on that front?
Well, yes, the PPP program has been, I guess, extended or put more money into it. And I hear there's going to be anytime, whatever we need to do as a country, they're expecting 4 relief packages. So yes, just the other day that it has been passed to actually give more money. So everybody that's getting furloughed will be able to get some help through the CARES Act and through their unemployment through their state. It's my understanding the state of Florida is actually, I don't know if they're catching up on their payments, but I know that you can go online now and actually they're trying to help with that as well. So I'm not sure how long the payments are taking. I know in the beginning there was a lot of people going on. So it's been, I know the unemployment figures yesterday that came out were actually less than last week. So hopefully we're moving in the right direction as we do open up in the next few weeks and we do actually help people get back to work. But there is another relief package that was passed, and it's my understanding they will do more and more and more as they need to go.
Yeah, we hope so. We hope we're pulling together. People are going to be able to, utilize those funds properly, appropriately, and, investing it back into, local businesses, helping, especially here in Tampa Bay, the local economy here in Tampa Bay. Richard Alexander, top tips, nuggets of advice, sir.
Well, again, I just can't overemphasize about just there's a lot of stuff out there on social media. I read it every day. I read constantly all different types of sources just to get an idea of what actually is happening out there since, the country pretty much has been shut down. But, the most important thing to do is just, reach out, just be safe, be smart, be prudent. And just, hopefully, I'm just a big optimist. I just want this to go away yesterday. But, like everybody else out there, we just have to wait that the people we elected in power do the right thing by us. So hopefully that'll happen very soon.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. All right, Frank, give us some inspiring words here, words of wisdom.
Well, the good news is this. We're seeing on our commercial closing side that our residential and commercial properties are not losing value. If you look at the stock market during this catastrophic event, there's plenty of money on the sideline. People are still investing in companies that aren't producing or making any money this quarter. So there's a lot of money in the marketplace. So this is a much different than the 2007 collapse when it was a banking collapse. This is not a banking collapse. I think this is completely different in the fact that we've never seen this before. But it's clear based on what's happening in the stock market, there's plenty of cash out there. So I don't think we're going to see huge discounts, if any, when it comes to real estate, particularly in this area, because as mentioned earlier in the show, this area is growing faster. I think it's in the top 5 in the country in people moving here in construction. So fortunately for people selling, I think you're going to still get a good deal and a good price. People that are buying, I don't think you're going to see the discounted price and the windfall that we saw 10 years ago, 13 years ago. So based upon that, we're closing deals left and right. Only 1 or 2 deals have fallen apart based upon the fact that someone may have been laid off in a short period of time. So the bank itself, the financing bank, backed out. But the good news is real estate's strong. The good news is there's a lot of money in the sidelines. People are looking to place their money someplace.
Right.
And real estate's a good spot to do it in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. And more, I think the trend's going to be people moving to this area, people looking to escape those metropolitan areas. You look at all of the advantages to Tampa Bay, the absence of a state income tax, the ability, prices are still affordable, the affordability's there. And now, Diane was talking about the rates being super low again. We're not quoting certain rates here. We don't want the mortgage police coming at us, but, you can look at, rates in the 3-4%, range, depending on the product in your income and your credit scores. So it's a great time to be in real estate, a great time to be buying properties, and there's less competition right now. That's one of the big things I'm talking to a lot of the buyers and sellers and investors out there is a certain amount of people are going to be scared. They're going to have that herd mentality, and they're going to be backing off of deals where if you're diligent, it's a good deal. If you're looking at a triplex or a quad or some type of an investment property, and you say, hey, let's think common sense wise here. People have to live somewhere. They need a roof over their head. It's an insurable asset, and it's going to appreciate here in Tampa Bay. That's the other, it's going to appreciate. So as you pay that debt down, you're building appreciation every month. If it's a non-owner occupied, and the example I just gave, you've got other people paying for your asset that's going to appreciate, and you got the ability to leverage it at some point if you want to refinance it. And then, by the way, real estate is one of the number one drivers of the economy. Look at all of the people affected with Home Depot, the different stores. When people buy their properties, they're going to be fixing them up. It's a ripple effect that really goes a long way throughout real estate, mortgage, title, all the inspection services around it. Then you've got the ancillary services as well with solar companies like 3D Solar, waterscience.us, adding on those water filtration systems. So a lot of ways that the economy is the driver. Real estate, therefore, is an essential business, and it's a driver in the economy. So, hey, another great show. I want to thank our expert contributors, Diane, Vance, Richard Alexander, Frank Miranda, all of our team, our producers out there, and our listeners and viewers. We really appreciate you tuning in. We urge you to reach out. Anything you heard on the show today, we can put you direct contact with our expert contributors, and we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time.